Welcome back. In this video, I'm going to show you how I'm making these little trinket pouches. I have ones that just go on a keychain, and today I'm going to show you how to make this one that has the little loop so you can attach it all by itself. If you want to make the kind with the keychain, just stitch all the way across this row, completely ignore the part where I explain this, and then just add a keychain on at the end. This is a great scrap yarn project. They take under an hour each to make, and they're very beginner friendly. Supplies are a crochet hook. I'm working with a 4mm, some scissors, a yarn needle, and we're going to need some buttons. And yarn, of course. Today, I think I'm going to work out of my scrap yarn. So I'm just going to... That one could be something. Just going to look through here and see what I want to use. This could be something. You'll notice I'm picking the thicker ones instead of the thinner ones. This works a little bit better with thick, but you could absolutely do thin. Let's just start with that. So I'm going to start with a slip stitch. I'm going to just grab this end and drop it over top. Flip it underneath. And then I'm going to grab this tail and also this little piece inside the circle. Slip my finger through and kind of pull up while holding both of these ends. We've got a slip stitch. Then I'm going to just begin to chain. The size on these are very customizable. This initial chain is how you're going to determine how wide your little pouch ends up. I've done 10. I'm going to do my little chain 1. Then I'm going to work. I've chained in this direction. Now I want to work back in this direction. So I've chained 1. Now I'm going to just single stitch into each existing stitch all the way back to where I started. Now that I'm back where I started, I want to do maybe one more row, just make this bottom part a little thicker. So I'm going to chain 1, flip my work, and just continue singles back in that other direction. Now I want to start building the walls upwards. To do that, I'm going to continue to single stitch in each stitch all the way around. What makes it different though, let me take this out just so I can show you. You see each stitch is made up of 2 strands. In order to build the wall upward, I'm only going to pick up the top strand on each stitch that I do. Usually I go through both. This time I'm only going to go through the top part. On the 2 short ends, I'm working into this stitch and this stitch. And then I'm going to slip stitch into this first one that I had made, picking up both loops, pulling it through both of those. Chain 1, because I'm going to start another row. I'm going to do another row around, this time picking up both loops on each stitch. I'm also going to skip this first stitch here and just start working into this one. Now you can keep working in the same color if you want, but I fear I'm going to run out of this brown, so I'm going to bring in another color. So I just slip knotted the color I want to work with. I'm going to throw that on my hook. Grab these little tails down here and kind of just keep them pulled taut. And then just continue working single stitches with this new white color. Pull it through those. And now I'm going to pick up not only the stitch, but also these two as well, so that I can kind of work these in as I go. It's easier than having so many tails to weave in at the end. I switched back to brown just so the color change will look intentional by the time I'm done. I'm pulling this out so that I don't lose any stitches while I do this little pause here. I'm going to pause and trim these. I'm also going to sew this bad boy in. And I like to kind of just do like a back and forth situation. I feel like it stays better than just going in one direction only. So I'm going to come back this way and cut that off too. The reason I did that now is because I want to flip this inside out. I want this to be the outside. Now that this pouch is the size that I wanted, I'm going to start working on the flap that comes over. So I finished here. I'm going to chain one, turn my work over, and I want it to come this way. So I'm going to work on this side. We're going to do that thing where we just only pick up one of the loops in the stitch. And again, just work my way across, picking up only that top loop. Slipped out of there. Doing single crochets. Only to halfway across this first line though, because I want to be able to attach this to something. So I'm going to make a little loop to be able to do that. So I'm going to just chain. I've chained 30. How long you want to chain is going to very much depend on how big this is, because when connected here, you just want to be able to fit this through this. I'll show you how it attaches later though. From here, we're going to just keep single stitching, only picking up that top loop. Only across the back. Now I'm going to chain one, flip my work, and work back in this direction. Now I'm picking up both loops of each stitch. And I'm going to continue doing that as I move forward. Keep this little loop out of the way. No, I'm sorry. Keep this little loop out of the way this way, because my flap is going to fold this way. I want this on the outside. Hello. Now that this flap is about as long as I want it, I'm working on the last row of the flap. I'm stopping halfway through because we need to make another small little loop that basically can go around the button and hold it closed. So I'm going to chain 5. This very much depends on the size of your button. Come back down here and just continue on. And as you can see, I am running incredibly low on this brown, as I feared I would when I accounted for having enough to do this, I even forgot about this little loop that I would need to add. So luckily I've got a little scrap here that I'm gonna, it'll be enough just barely to finish off, but I'm making things harder on myself by not starting with enough yarn to do this. My goodness, I just barely made it. Ideally, you want way more than this to be able to tie it off and sew it in. I even have to use my needle because I can't get it through without. So I'm going to just tie that off and weave it in. You know what? I might have to do it like this. Like sometimes if this is too short, because if I put this on here, I'm not going to be able to get my needle in where I need it. So sometimes if I've not left myself enough, I have to put the needle in and then I can put the little tail in and pull it through. And then I will try to just go back in the opposite direction at least. I think I have enough to just go back in the opposite direction. That'll do it. And there's our little pouch. Now I just need to sew the button on. I did forget to add needle and thread to the supplies list, so I wrote that in post. Right now I'm going to attach my button, so I just want to measure exactly where I want it. I want to flip this inside out so I can work. And with that button sewed on, you can just close it like so. And then lastly, if you look closely, you can see how like fuzzy it is. I like to take a lighter and very quickly run it across just to get rid of some of the fuzz. It just makes it look a little bit cleaner. Be very careful with this step. Go very quickly, very lightly. Take it very easy with that. Particularly, I don't think, I don't know if you want to be careful. If you're using acrylic yarn, you might not want to do the burning at all. I'm not entirely sure on that. I don't know. But I'm just kind of like assuming off the top of my head that acrylic might actually just burn or something. I don't know. But there's your nice little pocket. And then it's super easy to attach to a purse. I personally get the most use out of these when I go to raves or other little festivals, because I find that this is the perfect little trinket pouch, so that when I've met someone that I want to give a trinket to, I'm not like digging through my bag trying to find a little tiny thing at the bottom, and they're just like conveniently right there. Thank you so much for watching. If you like that video, don't forget to hit the little thumbs up down below. Subscribe while you're hanging out down there, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.